For 3 minutes already? Okay, then we better get on it. Okay. Carry on. Yep, it works. Good sound. Hi, guys. Okay.
Here we are. Covey 19 Alpha Bravo. Bravo. Would you want to name your dog Bravo?
No.
Why not?
Because it ends in O, and it sounds like whoa, and then it's all muddled up for him.
We have one of them in the kennel.
Yeah.
What's his name, Carly?
Brav.
We call him Brav.
Brav, yes. Yeah. Hey, Natalie and Kay are joining in and want to send out a huge congrats to both of them. Natalie won both puppy stakes with Annie, little rock star that she is. Both.
Ball hog.
Uh-huh. Ball hog. And Kay took third, and she actually made callbacks in both her stakes and got around clean twice, so that's awesome.
That's great.
Young dog. And
yeah, that's what it takes.
Yep, very competitive field. So congrats, guys. Good job.
Natalie's dog's got a bright future, and Kay's she's doing it on her by herself, which
I
is
know.
awesome.
That's so cool. Okay.
So we have...
oh, Janet. Janet got a Judge's Award of Merit at the VCA Nationals with Leia. That was absolutely fantastic. And so did Elise Wright and Izzy. That was wonderful job, guys. And then Ashley won it, obviously, with Cannon. That was absolutely wonderful. Yeah, that's great. So
fun stuff. It's that's what we enjoy doing is
sitting back and getting updates.
Yeah, it really is. It's cool.
Yeah.
To hear the fun that people are having and how well they do, and it's interesting stuff. So, well, been finding more woodcock.
Well, I haven't. You guys have, maybe. I find nothing around here.
The other day when we went walking and found a covey in the woodcock den.
Yeah, a couple.
Yeah, so, but more than we were finding. So.
Yeah, they burned around us, so we're not finding much right here, but.
Yeah. Okay, so today what we're going to do, we've been working dogs, and we just had a gentleman who come to do an evaluation of his dog, and he had a lot of questions, and when we got here and we watched him and worked, and I saw Carly making a list of things to help him in the background, and it's just normal stuff. It's the same things we do at clinics all the time to make a difference, and his dog had been trained, and someone had trained it, and they'd done a pretty nice job. It's just that the owner didn't know how to keep enhancing that. And it was very green broke still, but the owner has the opportunity, and it's really interesting when even taking a dog that someone else had trained, and I just stepped in, did a few woes with it, and had him start talking to the dog and making it turn, in a minute, it was responding to him much better. And those are things that I think that we try to encourage people to do, is to raise your expectations and just train your dog and teach your dog to listen to you. He was from the school of constantly talking to his dog. The whole peanuts talk.
Yeah.
And a lot of it meant nothing. So as soon as we started showing him how we could sharpen things up, the dog started responding better, and it was good. And the other thing that happened was he woed her when she pointed every time, which we got to explain that. And that's probably one of the hardest concepts that we have people deal with, is trying to understand
when to woe and when not to.
Yeah. When the dog goes on point, doesn't mean there's always something there.
Right.
And that's what you got to remember. So
yeah,
this stuff always happens at the clinics. At the clinics, and trying to explain it, and when people see it, it makes sense. It's just, if your dog hits a hot scent and they're a bird dog, they hit, say, like a roost spot from a covey from last night, and it's noon, and they still smell it, they'll point, and then they'll investigate and move on, and that's what we're looking for.
Right.
I mean, what the dog's allowed to do that, and it's very valuable in becoming a bird dog. So,
yeah.
So
I forgot Janice Price and Peanut too had a great trial down at Ponca City.
Yep,
so, congratulations to them as well.
Come together for them well. That's fantastic, and
she's got him figured out. She's got him on the run now. So, good.
Good stuff happening.
Someone asked the other day about the age of a puppy and starting him on the gun and blah, blah, blah. And it was interesting because just that day that question came up, it just happened to have a gentleman here who had some dogs that were not doing great on the gun, not super engaged. And then we had a puppy out that was 12 weeks, not even 12 weeks old. I don't know how old Rudy is now.
Rudy Tooty?
Yeah, he's an itty-bitty puppy, and he's so driven and loves the birds so much that we started him on the gun. He's tiny, itty-bitty, and he's almost ready to shoot over. And so age is not the defining factor. Eyesight is a bigger question. If they can't follow the bird to watch it drop, then you just keep your throw shorter. That's one of the things you can do. But if a puppy's driven and it loves birds and everything's introduced in the right order, it's easy. Just zip right along. So keep that in mind. You don't have to wait. If your puppy is engaged and doing well, you can start things pretty early.
Yeah, it's depending on boldness and confidence. It's not, and if the dog isn't, the dog's 2 years old, not confident, you may never get them confident before you start it.
Right.
So, but a young pup like that, if they're confident and a little hot rod like he is, they can just go through it just fine, and that's what you're looking for. And the sooner you can get them out and started about birds and confidence, and then the sooner you can get the gun done, which the better off it is for the dog, because then you have less chance of a mishap happening.
Right, yeah.
So that was
Good idea.
It was good. So one of the questions we had last week was, the comments was, so when the bird is being flushed, the dog can't move a foot.
Right.
Correct. We want to train the dogs to the point where we call flat-footed, meaning they don't pick up a foot at all. And it doesn't mean you always get it in competition, but you're trying to, that goal is what you're looking for. And through that process, you get a dog that's really solid. And you can't let them move sometimes, and the next time have a dog that's confident.
Right. They're confused at that point.
You got to keep the rules the same, have your expectations, and keep them.
Yeah.
And that will help the dog understand what's expected of them.
I always find it interesting that people think, well, it's okay to let them turn a mark, or they think they're being kinder by not getting a correction, and if anything, they're just confusing their dog more, because then the dog doesn't have a clear picture of what's expected and what's not expected. And if they always know what to expect, then they flourish. It's the same as kids. Just need schedule and
horses.
Expectation. And horses, yep, that's right. So it's teaching backing. When do you stimulate? Great question.
Very, 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 very seldom.
Yes.
Does that make sense, Todd? One of the biggest problems we see of dogs that are having trouble with honoring or backing is that a lot of trainers, owners, they think the answer is to hit the button and say, whoa. And about 70% of the dogs that you would do that to, when they see a dog on point, they don't stop or they're not stopping, and you hit the stimulation and say, whoa, that dog is eventually going to not want to see a dog on point. And that's where you get, they're blinking the back, is what it's called. They're turning away from it. They're avoiding the eye contact with it, because every time they see it, they're getting corrected or stimulated, and it does not make sense to them.
It's not fun.
So an explanation of backing has to be that the dog feels like there's a bird in front of the dog on point, and that creates the feeling of wanting to point because they see the other dog on point. And how you get that is the technique that we teach in the clinics and in the videos, is that if they see a dog on point every time for a while and a bird pops each time they see it as a puppy, they'll start slamming on point.
Yep.
When they see that dog on point, just like as if it was sent. But now it's visual instead of through the nose. And I challenge people to try this. It's something I did at experiments before in my past, where I would take puppies and actually introduce them to birds with a dog on point first. Real interesting. And if they saw a dog on point each time, once they were excited about birds, and they saw a dog on point, rather than smelling it, they would start pointing the dog on point because a bird popped every time they saw it. And you're building a positive association. It's a behavior thing.
And I think one of the mistakes that people make too in backing is way too early on, they get rid of the check cord. They think their dog's just going to run across the field at 900 miles an hour and stop and back. And there are some dogs that will do that, some very, very few. But the mistake that people make is get them off the check cord too soon. And if you keep them on the check cord, you control the situation, and then you can pop that bird or shoot the bird for them, let the backing dog retrieve, and start to build that positive association. But if you're just hoping they're going to do it, and your woe training isn't good enough, and their background experience isn't good enough, they're not going to do it. And then you're creating a situation where you have something you have to fix instead of teaching from the ground up.
Well, I think a lot of people believe that is because their dog will point a bird, stand through the flush and the shot of a bird. Well, they're just going to back.
Right.
One has nothing to do with the other.
Right.
And that's why first thing you have to do is build that association. Now, I'm going to answer the question. I haven't yet.
Okay.
So you got this all established. You've got this all established. They see the dog on point. They point the dog, blah, blah, blah. They stand birds over here away from the dog on point. Now, if you have a dog that consistently wants to go like ripping in there once they realize the dog's on point, and they have more instinct to rip the bird out in front of the other dog than to stop, then at that point, some of those dogs I'm going to enforce it once they understand it, woeing them into a back. But it's going to take a lot of bad behavior before I start doing that, because I'm going to go back with teaching first with a check cord and gentle woes in the way that I say it with no stimulation. If my woe training is done correctly, they should stop when I say whoa. And eventually it creates a habit. When they see a dog on point, they stop.
Right.
So when do I stimulate on a back? It has to be an extreme case where they're just not going to stop. They're going to try to rip the bird out every time.
And that's more an advanced dog that already knows how to back.
Yeah, they're just wanting to get the bird up and still the point.
Right. Okay. I think we had another question.
Yeah, it says, I have a Greenbrook dog that is holding on wild and pen-raised birds that are stationary. However, when the covey starts running, the dog has a tendency to move. When should I correct?
And this is a puppy that is working on wild birds that are running.
It's a broke dog. It's a Greenbrook dog.
Okay. And the birds are walking away. The wild birds are leaving. And your dog wants to move up and find it again, is what I'm hearing.
That happened to Huck the other day.
They better.
That's
what
right.
That's what we want them to do.
Yeah.
And so the fine line there is there's, you have to imagine from the dog's point of view or its scent of the bird. The bird's there, they can smell it. Then the bird walks off. What happens to the scent?
Scent's gone.
The scent leaves.
They should go with the scent.
And they should go find the scent again. And so that's the important part to remember with this, is to create bird dogs, dogs point birds.
Not where birds have been.
Yes, not where birds have been, because what happens, just like the gentleman that was here, every time his dog was snap on point, he could go, whoa. Well, if your dog is woe trained, they better not move once you say that word.
Right.
Right? Unless you have a cue to tell them to move. So one of the greatest values we find in working on wild birds is the dogs learn the ability to find the birds. And they also learn the lessons.
That's
from
right.
birds. So let's say you're out here. We got this little dog out here that's a national champion.
Nova,
Yeah.
squirreling around out there.
Oh yeah, she's got the old sneaky snake scent.
Yeah.
When she hits a scent and she's not sure where the bird is, she gets low and starts really like a snake working around her tail. And she pretty much mastered it.
Yep.
And
it's pretty good.
There was a lot of trial and error that she had to go through on wild birds to learn not to get too close. As a matter of fact, that skill helped her win that national championship on a wild covey.
Yep.
Because she knew the birds were there because of the experience she'd had by trying to move up in the past. The birds would pop if she got too close. And literally, when I relocated her, she moved 100 yards to refine the scent. When she found the scent, the birds were still 20, 30 yards away from her. And those are things that they can't learn unless you allow them to. So the answer is, when do you correct? If the dog's moving in on the birds and intentionally like rips a bird out, you'll correct. If the bird pops and your dog's supposed to stop to flush and it doesn't stop, that's where you use the light stimulation correct. So there's the answer
Yep.
to that.
That's it. Okay.
They have a 2-year-old French Brittany that has never been staunch pointing on quail. She now blinks off point, but will race to retrieve a downed bird. Any advice to help with blinking?
What's the first thing that pops to mind?
The gun.
Gun shy.
She's gun sensitive,
Yeah.
possibly.
That's the first thing we would look at, because that happens a lot. And if they run after the gunshot goes off and they run down to pick up the bird, the anxiety over the gun is over at that point, and they'll take off. So that would be the first
The
thing.
gun is over, so the anticipation of the gun is worse than the gunshot itself a lot of times.
Yep.
That's the first thing we'd look at. The other thing is if that's not it, then what has created the dog blinking?
Right.
And sometimes the other techniques out there that aren't ours is that they just use the collar to try to stimulate them on birds, and the dogs start blinking at birds because
They don't
they only
understand.
associate the stimulation with the birds.
Right.
Nothing to do with woe or anything, so that's the other possibility.
Yeah.
So those are things to analyze, and that'd be a dog that you would be video her and
Send it to us.
Send it to us. We'll take a look.
Yep. And so I think to clarify things, what we're saying is without any previous training, they take the dog out there, the dog goes on point, they just start to hit a button to make the dog stop, but the dog doesn't know what that means because it hasn't had any prior training. It doesn't know what whoa means, and they don't use any words, they just use a button. So basically it's trash breaking, which creates blinking.
Right. The dog has the choice to decide why it's getting stimulated, and if it doesn't have a good formal woe training, then the dog's going to make a choice, and usually it's the bird, because every time they see the bird fly or they go towards it, the dog gets stimulated.
Right.
They don't understand it. That's
Right.
why we go through the process we teach, and that's why it's
Yep.
effective.
So Brad said, back to the green broke dog, it's more of a desire to chase unless they fly. So I'm not sure I understand that again, because if the dog is, hi, Bonnie wants up here, hi. If the dog is bunking the birds, then you're going to whoa it, if it goes with the bird when the bird gets up. And if it's really trying to chase, then it's trying to rip out the bird, and you're going to stop him at that point when he gets to the birds to rip them out. But otherwise, hi, Bubba. But otherwise, if he's just moving with the covey, you're going to allow him to move with the covey until the covey stops or they fly. And if he doesn't chase, no harm, no foul. He just got too close. So hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah. All right. Is that everybody?
What are you doing today?
We are going to go, again, we've had lots of requests for how to teach your horse to stand still when you get on, and I'm going to show that one more time just because I know some people have missed it in the past. And the other thing that I'm going to talk about is that we have a lot of questions as far as parking out, teaching your horse to park out. And people want to know, do you teach them to park out or make them park out before you do the stand still thing? And so, no, I don't. I actually do the stand still thing first because it doesn't do you any good to teach them to park out if the minute you pick your foot up to put it in the stirrup, they're going to walk away. Yeah. So I do the stand still first and then park out. And this colt just barely is learning parking out. So I'm going to show you that as well. And so before we get out, it's windy out there today, so you might have a harder time hearing me. But you really have to read your horse. When you're teaching your horse to stand still, you have to know your horse's personality. So if you have a super lazy, quiet horse that moves every time you go to get on it, you're going to really have to hustle it in a tight circle, pulling its nose towards you. I'm going to show you how to do all this. And you're going to have to really push it, maybe even smack them on the hiney and make them go 10, 15 laps until they offer to stop and stand. And then you give them a draped rein and you try again. And the minute they move, and this is where people make a mistake, people will get on and the horse will move and they'll go, oh, well, that's okay. Okay, the first time you do that, you're starting all over again. And so stand still means stand still until I pick up the rein and tell you to do something else. And so if I'm even on the horse and they take a step, I'm going to get back off, I'm going to do it again. They're not allowed to move until I ask them to move off. So that's really an important distinction. If you have a hotter horse, a super sensitive horse, you're not going to hustle them very hard in a circle because they're going to get more amped up. You're going to actually quietly pull their nose to you and push their hip around, and you're going to same thing 10, 15 times in a tight circle until they offer to stop. But you're going to do that quieter with a hotter horse. You're going to do it more animated with a lazy horse. So
one of the things that I experienced with that after you taught all of us that technique, we were at a trial last fall and it was hot and we were running a lot of dogs and I was riding the young horse Rooster. And because I was at a trial, I kept just getting on as he was starting to walk off. And eventually it was getting to the point, like you said, it was getting worse and worse. So finally I just wove the dog after the find and stuff, did the technique you were going to show everybody. He did about 3 turns and never moved another step the entire rest of the day. And it was based off my laziness, and what you just said is not trying to enforce it, and he was basically getting away with it just like a dog would be getting trial.
That's right.
And allowed to do it. So, and it didn't take but literally 15 seconds. And it was fine again. So.
And that's the key. Most people won't do it in a trial situation because they're nervous. Oh, everybody's watching. Everybody's going to. But if you will do it in that trial situation, then you won't have the problems anymore. You can literally get on any one of our horses, even the young ones, while the whole gallery is riding away, and they'll stand still. And that has to happen because you don't want to get hurt.
Truth. That is the truth. I mean, that's something that I was always wowed. I was always wowed by many things from you, but that thing there as a horses was amazing watching Jessica do this at the trials where she literally, there'd be 30 people in the gallery and she'd sit back and everybody'd be waiting on her. She'd go on. And as soon as they start riding off, she'd make them do those scribble circles or whatever, and she'd step on the horse, sit there, and they just sat there.
And we had a phenomenal horse that we purchased. You needed a backup horse, and we only used him for a year because he was old and we wanted to retire him, but we just used him for a backup horse. But God, I love that horse. Huge. But they said the problem with him is he would never stand still. They couldn't get on him when the gallery was leaving or to handle. And I will never forget, went to Grove Springs and I spent a couple hours with him because it was pretty ingrained. He'd been tried all his life. And everyone kept saying, oh no, it's okay, I'll hold him. And I said, no, I don't want you to hold him. And so finally by the end of a couple hours, I could literally get on with the whole gallery riding away and he'd stand perfectly still. And so it works. The technique really works. You just have to be consistent with it. And you have to practice it at a trial and at practice areas, not just in your home area, because that's not when they're the most amped up.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but it really, once they learn the technique, it literally, like you said, takes 15, 20 seconds to do it. So,
It works.
yep.
Just being consistent, just like the dogs,
Yeah,
right?
and I see a lot of people get dumped trying to get on because the horse takes off and their leg's halfway over and off they go.
It's hard, and it's dangerous around the dogs.
Yes, it is. Yeah, yeah. So, all right. Well, we're going to go show you guys with Shiner what we can do here. He's over here waiting for us, so we're going to go out in the wind. You need help getting down?
So you might explain to him what that is he's tied to as you go down there.
Oh, he's on the patience pole right now. What some people call, good boy. Some people call a patience pole. That's actually a patience tire. But it's a tire. Just an old technique we used to use on our Western pleasure horses way back in the day when I was training. And it just is something to tie them to. It's immobile. You don't want to tie them very long. It's about a foot. And it just teaches them to be patient, keep their head down, to be quiet. And he's gotten so much better this week working on this. This colt is an interesting mix of silly and a little bit flighty, and yet in some ways can be super quiet, lazy. So very interesting horse. He doesn't follow the norm of most horses. So we'll come out here and see what we can do with him. His name is Shiner. He's a 3-year-old. Hey, Bubba. So if you're going to use a tire technique anytime you're tying your horses, you want to be sure to, hi baby, to have a big enough tire that they cannot move it, or it might only move a few feet if he pulls real hard. Good boy. And then you want to make sure that your horse knows how to drop their head before you put them on a tire. Good boy. And it's just a great technique, very safe way to tie a young horse where they're not going to get hurt. But I only do this when they're 2 years old and older, when their neck muscles are developed. Good boy. Good. Okay, we're going to go up the hill just a little and near the flat area. Come on, bub. He is 3. He's a 3-year-old. Very, very nice boy. Most of you have seen me, if you've been to trials, on his brother. That was a wedding gift from John. But this colt is a lot younger, 2 years younger than that, and he's come along pretty nice. I'm going to go ahead and bridle him first. Good boy. Whoa. And again, you can put the halter on your horse. I've spent quite a bit of time with these colts, and I'm confident he's not going to go anywhere. Good boy. Ask him to drop his head to be bridled. He takes it quite seriously, and now he's going to eat. There. But I want my horses to drop their head way down here when I bridle them. Even little kids can bridle horses like this. Good boy. He's super patient. A little worried about having his teeth clink there. Good boy. Very nice. Okay. Oh, I don't think this fits you. Hold on. I think I rode the other horse in this yesterday. It's a little tight for him. Let's fix that for you. Oh, hold on. I know. Okay. So I just have a little snaffle bit in his mouth, and again, another useful piece of information for those of you that are riding or learning to ride. This is a snaffle bit. It's got a broken mouthpiece in the middle. Okay. Oftentimes people think, see, it's got a little donut in there. Oftentimes people think that any bit with a broken mouthpiece is a snaffle. That is not true. Anytime you have a bit with a shank, with leverage, it is a curb bit, no matter what the mouthpiece is. Mouthpiece can be broken, and a lot of people call that a snaffle, but if it has a shank, it is not. It's a curb bit. Okay, so a true snaffle is just going to have a ring, a direct pull. Okay. All right, so let's get this guy ready. Actually, took my curb chain off yesterday to oil it, and I forgot to put it back on. You definitely want to have a little curb strap. It doesn't actually work off of leverage, but it keeps the bit from coming through their mouth if you have to pull real hard. So it is an important piece of equipment. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I would do with a young horse like this. Okay, let's step over here. And I'm just going to do it right from the get-go instead of just, well, maybe not. I'll see if I go to get on, if he moves at all. Saddle's tight. Hold that rein. I'm on a hillside. That was pretty good there. Good boy. Look, he's already trained. Okay. Now, if he moved at all, what I would do right here is bend his nose to me, push his hip in a circle. Okay. Good. Keep pushing, keep pushing. You're going to watch. He's going to offer to stop. Getting Cole right there. He offered to stop on his own. I release the pressure and let him stop, okay? And now, for those of you that are asking about parking him out, here is when I would ask for the park out. I'm going to ask for one step. Oh, one step on this side. Good boy, he's just a baby, okay? And then I'm going to go to step on him again. If he goes to move at all, good boy. If he goes to move at all, I'm going to step back down. He's going to move right here. He's just trying to get his balance. Good boy. Okay, what a good boy. Step back off. Yeah, I did actually. I wrote him the other day and I thought I'd use him because he was wiggly and I worked on this. So unfortunately, he's not being too naughty. But you can see how gently I can push him around. I push him around again. Good. Push, push. And if I had a hot horse that was moving, most horses are going to move. Wait for the stop here. Hold on. There it is. He offered. Okay, I'm going to let him have that. Most horses, the minute you pick your foot up to put in the stirrup like that, they're going to move. And at that point, I'm gently going to pull him around, ask him again to move. Okay. I don't really want to mount on the side of a hill here, so I'm going to wait for him to offer to stop again when he's the right way. Right there. See him slow down. Okay, he's offering to stop. Now I can ask again for the park out. Good. He's just a baby, just learning. Good. One more. Now again, if I were to ask for this park out, good, and he's not standing still, it's not going to do me any good. He's going to move the minute I ask for it. So I'm going to step up here again. Good boy. I'm going to step all the way up. Sit here. If he moved right here, I would step back off, okay? Just nice and gently and quietly. I'm not going to scare him. I'm not trying to get him upset. And I'm going to bend him in a circle again. So if he even moved when my butt hit the saddle, push him around again. And again, this is a baby just 2 days ago. He was wiggling all over. You could barely mount him without doing the running mount. So we worked on this. Wait for the stop. There it is. Good. And again, I'm actually letting him offer that stop by backing off a little bit, but I'm doing that because I don't want to mount him on the side of a hill. Okay, you notice that I have a loose rein every time now. Okay, really, really important not to hold them. Okay, step back up, sit all the way down, wait. Good job. Okay, now he shouldn't go anywhere until I ask him to go anywhere. If he does take a step before I ask, then I'm going to walk away again. I'm going to get off again and I'm going to put him in a circle again. Good boy. Very nice. And so I'm not trying to hold him here. Again, this is very Greenbroke baby. He's not had a lot of miles on him yet. And you can see how nicely he's standing here. He wants to look around and check everything out, but he's not being naughty and trying to walk off. And so again, I just worked on this a couple days ago. And that's how quickly you can advance with it. This is not a super quiet colt, so good boy, good boy. Very nice. You see how sensitive he is? I barely touched his rein. He started to back up for me. Very, very sensitive colt. Good boy. Okay, now I asked him to move there, so I'm going to allow that. Good boy. And then step back off again, grab hold. You can see him kind of looking around. And the reason I keep pointing that out, this is not a quiet horse. So people are going to think, well, he's just quiet. He's not. He's actually quite silly, hot, as in he's got a lot of energy, looks around a lot, can be a little bit spooky, not terrible. Good boy. But that's how quickly it works with a hot horse. So you want to do the bending of the hip first, get them to stand perfectly still, mount, on, off, and then start working on your parking out. Bend them in a circle, let them offer to stop, ask them to park out a couple steps at a time. And when you're teaching them to park out, they don't need to do it all at once, okay? Just ask, good boy, ask for that foot just a little to come forward. Now see here, he just moved, a great opportunity right here. Now I can show you, good. See, he stalled out on you there, he wanted to stop on his own, but I'm not gonna allow him to stop yet because he made a mistake and moved. Okay, I'm gonna wait. He's gonna offer right here where you guys can see. Good, I give that to him. Now I'm going to ask again for the park out. Good, step up. Oh, he moved again. I'm going to push him. So this is what I would do as well if I was trying to get on him, not just try and park him out. He's got to stand still to park out. He's got to stand still to mount. See, I'm not pushing him super hard because he is a little hotter horse. Offered to stop right there. Good boy. I'm going to ask again for the foot to come forward, not backwards. That's fine. Good boy. Good boy. And again, when you're teaching them to park out, one step at a time. Don't try and get too much all at once. He's just, good boy. When he does the right thing, I'm going to give it to him. Good boy. Very nice. Ask for a little more here. Notice I'm pulling forward on his bridle a little. Actually, when I pull them forward. A lot of people will pull a bit backwards. It's just going to make your horse back up. Good boy. Very nice. Good. And he's very, very green at this. Beautiful. What a good boy. Nice little park out. If you want to come to the side and show him, Carly. Good. And now, because I've done the several circles, I should be able to just step right up there without him moving. Okay, put my foot in the stirrup. Very nice. Good boy. Good boy. Good. Good boy. Okay. Step up. He goes, nope, I'm not moving. That's awesome. Good. Do you have any questions, Carly? That's fine.
Okay, so question. Dog has issues backing and not wanting to back. If the other dog points, she avoids the dog and goes in another direction. She isn't gun shy when she points alone, but ducks down when a bird is shot for another dog. How do I fix this?
She is still gun sensitive, and what she's doing is that she's telling you she doesn't want to see the dog on point because she doesn't like it when the gun goes off with another dog, is what she's telling us. We've seen dogs like that. So the main thing you're going to have to do is go back over the gun acclimation and include a dog in the process once you get through that, where the dog's on point, and you can get it's pretty in depth, but she's telling you she's avoiding the dog because she doesn't want to hear the gun or see the bird, is what she's doing. And that's another one I'd like to see a video on around the bird itself, because she might be showing you signs as she's as sensitive as the gun without that you're not noticing it. So.
Yeah. Send us a video and call early mornings to talk to Don, because he'll discuss those dogs with you guys.
Questions about the horse. Okay, Elsa said, just same thing to do if he's antsy when you get off. Question.
Get off or on? Same thing to, well, yeah, I mean, if you're trying to get off and your horse is antsy, don't try and step off of, well, okay, I will say this. If you're working on that, trying to get your horse quiet, don't try and step off an antsy horse as long as you feel like you have control of the situation. If you feel like you're in danger, get off your horse, okay? So many people say, I'll stick with it, ride it out. No, get off your horse if you feel like you're in danger. Go back to groundwork, make sure that you get control of the situation. I never encourage anyone to try and ride it through if they're scared, because that's never going to end well. But if you're not scared and your horse is being antsy, yeah, the biggest thing that I would do is put your horse in a lot of circles, push him in circles, side pass a little, make him work. And I would go circle left, circle right, circle left, circle right. I do figure 8 over and over and over until the horse offers to stop in the middle of that figure 8. When they offer to stop and they stand still, that's the point that I would get off. And then the other thing that, go ahead, I think Brian had a question too, you said?
What if he moves his back?
They cannot move. And so now, again, okay, there's always a caveat there. I don't want him to move. Like you saw, he was even on the slope here, and that was a little bit difficult for him. I do not want him to move when I get on him. It depends on the age of the horse and the weight of the rider.
If I was getting on him, he probably would have to move to
balance himself,
right.
Yes. But as long as they're not just like a dog making forward motion towards the bird, as long as he's not making a move to go anywhere and he's just trying to balance himself, I'm okay with that. And especially a younger horse that's not used to carrying weight yet or understanding how to carry that weight. And the other thing that we teach all of our horses is we teach them how to sidle up next to a log or a picnic bench. My sister's gotten very good at this. I taught her and Badger how to do this, and she finds anything wherever she's riding to make him side pass over to her, and she's able to mount that way. And that's not a difficult process at all to teach them, and if you guys are interested, I can show you how to do that on a Facebook Live, because then if you're out anywhere, you need them to move over, like to that tire. If I need him to move over to the tire, I can easily have him side pass towards me to the tire, and I can step on. And they get really good at it, where all you do is just lift her in and click, and they'll come right up underneath you so that you can mount. And so I'll show them that on a Facebook Live.
Do you mean that if I just take the rein and click, they'll learn to side pass?
Yeah, it does.
But the point is that what do you got to do to teach it, right?
We're going to show them that.
But that's what we get the questions we get in dog training.
Yes, yeah.
Right? You mean if I just push the button and say, whoa, they'll stand bird?
Not only if they've had prior training to do that. Yes, and we can show you how, baby. We can show you how to do that. So, yeah, it's really an easy technique, and I'll show you guys that on Thursday's Facebook Live. It's supposed to be warmer and nicer. It's just miserable out here. Cold,
Windy.
every day.
Carly's
I'm
got a
waiting for
question.
warm weather.
Well, Brian was talking about if he moves his back feet forward on the park out.
Okay, yeah, and you saw he did that. That's when I moved him in a circle to Brian because he wasn't standing still. So if I'm going to go, there's going to be one or two things I do. I was really working today on getting this colt to stand still. So I wanted to show you because I get this question a lot. Do I teach him to park out first or stand still first? Stand still has to come first, park out second, okay? So what I did is every time he moved his back feet and tried to move away from me when I asked him to park out, is I moved him in that circle to teach him to stand still. But if he's pretty much standing still and I'm wanting him to park out, and he'll make a mistake here, he usually does move a back foot up. And let's see if he does it here. Right there, okay, that's fine. He had a lot of work on this past couple days. He moved his back foot backwards, good boy, good. But I'm going to see if I can get him to move the back foot for you, and I'll show you what I do. Right there, okay, so I'm going to stop, back him up till he's square there, and then I'm going to ask him again to park out. Good, well, good boy. And if he moves that foot forward again, right there, he just did, I'm going to back him up, whoa. And I'm actually going to take it back a step further. Whoa, good boy. Okay, stop him. And then ask him again to park out. Good. She's mousing. There we go, much better. See that? So usually it takes a couple times. As soon as that back foot comes forward, you stopping them with your rein and pushing them back again, and then asking them to come forward. And all that's doing is isolating. See, you just did it again right there. Back him up. Whoa, good. Stop him. Good. And now I can ask again for the park out. And you don't have to get all crazy. They're not in trouble. They're just learning. Just be, oh, I'm going to put that foot back even though it didn't come far forward, but I'm going to put it back again. So I'm going to continue to do this every time until I isolate the foot. Good boy. That was great. And every time he does the right thing, you notice I quit asking. So I'm not expecting him to stretch out a mile right now. I just want him to do the right thing. That was the wrong thing. Put the foot back. Good boy. Good. And then ask again for the front foot to come forward. A little bit. Good boy. Good boy. And every time he does the right thing, I pet him. I'm also asking him to keep his head down through this whole process. Good boy. Whoa. Good boy. That was a nice long stretch there. Good. Whoa. Put that foot back. Whoa. Whoa. Good. Perfect. Good. Ask for this one. Nope. And so this is probably answering your question right there, Brian, because he keeps repeatedly moving that foot forward. I just keep putting the foot back. Tap the foot that I want. Whoa, good boy. Very nice. And every time he does the right thing, whoa, good. Ask again. So all you're trying to do is isolate the front. And this colt's only had a couple days of parking out. He's starting to get the idea. Good boy. Good release. Every time he does the right thing, pet him. Whoa. Asking him to keep his head down so he's nice and soft. Whoa. Good. There. Put that foot back. I would prefer his hind legs stay square because they have better balance when you mount him. If they're not going to stay perfectly square, then that left hind I'd like to be a little more tiny bit forward because that'll help hold the balance when you mount. But I do prefer my hind legs to be pretty square when they're finished. Good boy. Beautiful. Good boy. And so I just keep isolating the front feet. He's probably going to move this hind leg on this one because this is a pretty long stretch. Whoa. Whoa. I'm going to finish that foot. Good. Good. And back that one up. Back up. Whoa. I'm going to put that foot back. Whoa. Good. There. Good boy. And then ask again. And be super patient. It really only takes horses 10 to 15 minutes to get this figured out. But hopefully this is answering your question, Brian. Yep. Good boy. There we go. And the key with this, again, is to release every time he does the right thing. Good boy. Look, now we're getting a nice long stretch. And release every time he does the right thing. Good boy. He's getting quieter and quieter. His head's coming down more. He understands what I'm asking for. Then I'm going to go ahead and walk him forward and let him come out of it. Good.
So, you started doing this how long ago?
Today?
Today's the first day?
No, I did actually 2 days ago. I worked him a little bit on this parking out.
Okay. So, I noticed when you first started today, you had him take like one step on each foot.
Correct, yeah.
So you don't expect him to be like...
They're not going to stretch way out the first time you do this.
Why is that?
Yeah, it's because you have to learn in baby steps, foundation.
Okay.
Baby steps. Right. Everything is a little bit at a time. And so if I can, all I'm trying to do right now is isolate the front feet. And that's why I keep putting the back leg back. You go, well, the back leg doesn't matter if it's forward a little bit or if it's a little off center. No, it doesn't. But what does matter is he needs to understand that I don't want the back feet to move, just the front feet.
Right. So let me ask you this question real quick, and this is like animal behavior stuff. If you tap him with that toe on that back foot, and every time he brings that back, or the front foot,
Yes.
and he brings the front foot forward, and you let go of that tap.
Right. That's the release.
But even though it's the wrong foot, what's he getting out of that?
He's getting relief. It doesn't matter as long as the pressure goes away when he makes the move. Whatever move he made, he thinks is going to be the right one.
So if you tap on that front leg
Yes.
and he moves the back leg forward and you stop tapping,
That's right.
That's the answer for
That's
him.
exactly right.
It's the way all behavior for animals work.
And that's why I didn't this last time you saw I was tapping his front left leg. He moved the hind leg forward, and I said, I'm not going to address that right now. I'm going to finish getting what I want here. Then I addressed it and moved the back leg back.
Notice that.
That's important. Yes, that's what you were saying.
Yeah.
And that's important because, again, if I had stopped pressuring him at that point, he would think, oh, well, moving the back foot forward is what she wants. And eventually they'll learn, even if I tap this front foot and he gets better at this, he's going to actually start to move the other front foot for me. Like that. Good boy. Good boy. Okay, so he moved the other front foot, and I was actually tapping this one, and that's what I wanted to show you. They understand by the pressure, and I don't care right now which front foot he moves. I just want him to move a front foot forward. That's a nice little park out first.
Yep, perfect.
Very, very nice. Quick and easy. And they get to the point, and notice that I click every time, and I'm not pulling back on his bit. The only time I pull back on his bit is if he moves the front leg forward. Okay, so a lot of people grab the bit and pull back and ask him to park out. Well, that's very confusing because you want the front end to move forward, so you need to pull it forward. You're all right. It's a FedEx truck, buddy. So you're going to pull that nose forward and see his body. You probably couldn't see that on camera, but his whole body just shifted when I pulled forward. So it's a little bit of pull on the left side and then a tap. Come here. A tap on the front leg. This is what I meant about him being kind of hot and silly. FedEx truck pulled up behind him.
Everybody watching this?
Yeah.
2 days ago, this horse did not act like this.
No.
This is your magic putting him into this. So,
Yeah.
we're going to have to get off here and get moving. Do you have anything else you want to
No.
explain about
Any
that?
other questions, Carly?
No, but Elsa voted using Beamer on Thursday.
All right.
Okay.
We'll pull Beamer out and do Facebook Live and teach you how to side pass your horse to you, to a log or a tire or a picnic table or whatever it is you have handy. Okay?
All right. Good job, babe.
All right.
I love watching that stuff.
It's fun, isn't it?
Yep. All right. Well, everybody, thanks for watching. And if you have any questions, post them. And those of you with the dogs, send us a video. Call me early in the morning. I'll help you understand or analyze what's happening with your dog.
And anybody with a horse that doesn't stand still, bring him up. We'll do it live.
There you go.
Okay.
They'll have a whole trailer load.
I know.
Trailers
Trailers of people. That's okay. That'll be fun.
Everybody have a great day. God bless, and thanks for watching.